Join my Discord server, the link is down in the description. Hey everyone, my name is Saige, and welcome to this video, you absolute legends. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Gravitator, which is the weapon that you get in the Battle Pass after completing all of those Elite Challenge things. So, let me tell you guys, this weapon is definitely an interesting one, and I'm really excited to review it with you guys, because I don't know of how many people have done it on YouTube yet, so hopefully I'm one of the first. Anyway, I've been really busy the past few days, especially over this weekend, which is why I wasn't able to post the past 2 days, so I'm really sorry about that, but just know that a bunch of new content is coming soon. So without any further ado, let's hop right into this video.
Check this.
So before we start reviewing this weapon, guys, I just want to point out that the video quality right here is going to be really bad because of the way that my friend uploaded it to YouTube, so I'm really sorry about the quality. It's just the way that it was uploaded. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats of the weapon here, guys. So this is called the Gravitator. It looks really weird for sure. It looks like a space station or a satellite type thing with a trigger on it, so it looks pretty cool. It has a fire rate of 98, a capacity of 30, and a mobility of 50. It is a special weapon of the mythical tier, so it does come at mythical, which is nice. It has electro thrower, damage sphere, and gravitational force. Now, I have to tell you guys right now, this weapon is probably one of the weirdest weapons I have ever used, especially from the clip, which is right here. Right, guys, so look at this clip here. It's a really interesting weapon based on how it behaves. It's really weird. It glitches out a lot. In fact, whenever you get pulled towards it, it actually refuses to do damage sometimes, and it'll just completely ignore the fact that you're putting the trigger, like you're holding the trigger down, and it'll just completely ignore that. I don't know why. I don't know what causes it to do that, but guys, it is extremely weird because if the person gets closer, you can see right here, he's shooting the weapon, and it only actually works if you're pointing directly at them. It doesn't really matter if you're inside of that little sphere or anything. It just does a little bit of damage to you over time. But as you guys can see here, I'm right in front of him, he's shooting that thing, and it only does damage if he's looking directly at me, so it doesn't really have that area of effect thing, so you definitely have to be looking at them. But that being said, guys, this weapon does glitch out a lot. It's super weird. You'll get pulled toward the middle here, and you guys can see that I'm getting pulled towards the middle, but I won't take any damage unless he starts pushing that button there, and then again, it'll just start glitching sometimes. I don't know, it's really weird how this weapon actually works. It's kind of interesting though. We've had a couple of other weapons like this. I think there's one called the Plague Doctor, which was a sniper that was pretty similar to this. Now, if you guys remember that weapon, it was pretty powerful, although the actual range of the effect that pulled you in wasn't that long. So you'd have to be really close to your enemies in order for them to be actually pulled in, which is kind of annoying because this weapon has a really slow mobility. So you're not really going to be able to get close to your enemies anyway, which kind of sucks. That's kind of the biggest downside of this weapon, is that you can't really use it, and the gravitational force is not that strong at all. In fact, you can literally just move backwards, like walking backwards, and you'll just get right out of it, no problem. I don't even think that the weapon can kill you fast enough for you to be able to actually get killed by it before you actually get out of the circle. So you can literally just, if you're getting hit by this, you can kind of just jump out of it and go away. I don't know why it lets you do that. I don't know. I just personally feel like this weapon isn't worth it because of that. Now, let's go back to the statistics things we were looking at before. It has a bunch of really weird statistics to it. I'm going to pull it up just again so I can show you guys here. So, take a look at the effects that it has there on the right. It has electro thrower, damage sphere, and gravitation force. So we just talked a little bit about the gravitation force, but I'll talk about that again in a second. This thing also has damage sphere. So damage sphere is something that we've seen before. I think there's a melee weapon that has it. There's one melee that is like a chip sword maybe. I don't know. It's something like that, but it has that electro sphere damage. And this thing also has electro thrower. I have no idea what that is at all. I don't know what the electro thrower thing is. I don't know if that the weapon itself, even whenever you're not shooting it, has that little gravitational force thing around it. I'm not really sure exactly what it means, but I do know that the gravitation force does pull you towards it. Obviously, that's the whole point of the word gravity being there. So that electro thrower thing, I think that's what actually comes out of the weapon itself, and everything around it is just the gravitational force. That little circle that you see around the enemies that you can see here whenever you're actually shooting the weapon, that circle is still there even when you're not shooting it. So if you shoot the weapon, I think that's what the electro thrower thing is. And so if you think about it, there's a couple melees that are like the high voltage thing, I think it's called. I don't really know the name of the weapon, but it's a really old weapon in the special category, and it has, I believe, that effect, the electro thrower, where it just throws out a bunch of lightning out the front, and that's how you do damage to your opponents. But this one is like that on steroids because of the fact that it has the gravitational force thing. Is this weapon good? Yes, but it's also really difficult to use in my opinion, because you do have to be really close to the opponent. So would I recommend grinding to get it? I mean, honestly, it's more worth it for the gems that you get for unlocking the weapon in the gallery than the actual weapon itself. It's really, really difficult to use, especially on small maps like this where you're just going to get killed anyway. You can pull all the enemies to you, but then that means they could just abuse their area damage some more, spam like a one-shot area damage at you, and you'll just be dead instantly, and there's nothing you can do about it. This weapon does like kill fast, I suppose, but it doesn't really kill fast enough for you to be able to escape. You can literally just jump backwards out of the gravitational force thing, and you won't even be shooting them. And the fact that it has the electro like thrower thing is kind of cool, except you have to be looking directly at them, so it's not like the area of effect with the gravitational force thing has any effect on the bullets or anything. So that's kind of unfortunate. This weapon, guys, is super hard to use. You have a pretty low mobility with it too, so you're not going to be able to move around that fast to attack your enemies. Honestly, you can, like, somebody who 3-cat spams, for example, would be able to just turn around and end whoever is using this with no hesitation at all. And that's something that's kind of interesting, because all the previous weapons that we've seen for the end have been really, really good, except for this one and the previous one. The previous one, I think, was the lemonade, and the lemonade wasn't even that good either. The lemonade was really, really hard to use. You had to be very precise with it, but it did one shot. This one does kill relatively fast, but the conditions and how you have to use it are not that good. I think that's really, really good. I think that's Pixelgun 3D's way of saying, hey, we're making a step forward here. We're trying to make the weapons that are super overpowered, we're trying to make them more balanced. So I think that's something that's kind of good, because this weapon is balanced. You do have to be directly in front of them, looking directly at them in order for them to die. You can actually see someone using the explosive lemonade thing right there. You can see someone using it, but that was the previous challenge weapon from the end of the battle pass from last season, and that's what we got before. And that one was a one-shot, but it was really, really hard to use because of its travel time, the weird arc that it was, the load up time before you're able to shoot it. It's pretty awkward, the previous weapon, but it was literally a cup of explosive lemonade. It's kind of weird. They were getting pretty wacky with their designs, and this one is pretty weird looking too, although it is much better looking than the previous one. This one is a satellite, and it does look cool. Again, I'm just watching this, I'm like, wow, this clip is super bad quality. I'm super sorry about that, but hopefully you guys can understand what's going on here. But guys, this weapon overall is super hard to use. So like I said before, would I recommend grinding to get it? In all honesty, no. If people have to get 50 lucky chests in order to unlock this, and I guess over the course of 50 days you could do that, but honestly, guys, I don't think that spending your gems in order to get this weapon is worth it, because you do have to be directly in front of them, and there's like no real map where this weapon would be extremely good. Like, even on this map, this is probably the best map for it, because all the enemies are going to be right in front of you, because it's a really, really small map. But even then, guys, it's going to be very difficult to use, because people are going to spam area damage on this map anyway, and obviously the bigger the map, the harder this weapon will be to use. So it's really not usable on a lot of different maps, and it's not going to be usable in a lot of situations either. So what I really wouldn't even spend any time trying to do the challenges to get this thing. Like, maybe if you have so much time left in the battle pass that you don't even have to worry about doing any of the other challenges except for this. If you really have nothing to do in Pixelgun 3D, then I guess you can try and grind for this. But guys, it's really, really difficult to use. It's overall not that great of a weapon. I'm kind of surprised by it, honestly, because usually the end challenge weapons are actually really good. But this time, just like last time, we got a weapon that was just more or less kind of meh and just overall not that great. So anyway, yeah guys, that is going to be the end of the review for the most part. I'm going to give this weapon a 4 out of 10 because it does have very high damage, but its overall statistics aren't that great. The weapon is extremely difficult to use, and it is very impractical for most situations. I do believe that grinding to get a weapon, like for all the challenges that you have to do in order to get this, I think that you should probably at least have a higher mobility with it so that you can travel around faster. You just can't move fast around. Like, you just can't move fast enough around in order for this weapon to be good. The weapon does do a lot of damage, but that does not mean that the weapon is that great. I don't want to offend anybody. Again, this is just my opinion of the weapon. After seeing it being used, after being killed by it, it does glitch out a little bit sometimes, which is really, really weird. After being pulled forward, sometimes the weapon doesn't do damage to you. I don't know. It's just a little glitchy overall. But let me know down in the comments if you guys found anything interesting about this weapon, or if you found a better way to use it. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time. Hey, do you have Discord? If so, you should definitely join the official Legends Discord. The link to it is down in the description. As of right now, we have over 2,300 members who are constantly looking for other people to play with. As soon as you join, you can have easy communication with me and everybody else. It's a great place to socialize. If you play any video game at all, there's probably a lot of other people who are in this Discord server who play that same game and can probably help you out or want to play with you. So, what are you waiting for, man? Join my Discord server.